So we're continuing on with our discussion questions. Moving on to question number 2. Could we combine this into one larger actor? So I don't know how many times I've used the phrase array of arrays in the last couple lessons, but it's been a lot, and it's to support this whole concept of being able to combine multiple shapes into one body and in one arbitrary static actor. And then after we did all that work, I didn't actually create any bodies that were made up of more than one shape. If you look at our application, we've basically got one body on the left, and that's a single rectangle, and then each of these ramps is one body, each of these ramps is one body, and we haven't taken advantage of the fact that they could be combined. So the question is, could we combine them? Instead of creating one actor for the left wall, and an actor for ramp 1, and an actor for ramp 2, and an actor for ramp 3, could we have created, say, a all ramps on the left actor that would have contained these 3 shapes? Could we have created a everything on the left side of the field actor? Could we have created a all obstacles on the playing field that are static actor? And I guess the answer is yes, we could do any of those, but should we? Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. So I'm not quite sure what the right answer is from a technical perspective. I know that in general, Box 2D says you're better off having fewer bodies made up of more shapes than lots of bodies made up of fewer shapes. However, I also suspect that Box 2D is filtering some collision by first detecting whether the bounding box of any 2 objects intersect. And if you have an actor that's too large, for example, if we were to make an actor that consists of all of the static objects on screen, basically every actor that's on screen would fit inside this bounding box, and I'm guessing Box 2D would have to do a lot more work to figure out the collision detection. So maybe that's not the right answer either. Personally, my preference is go with what makes the most sense to you as a human. If, for example, you're looking at this and you're trying to conceptualize this whole thing in your mind, if it makes sense that this wall is separate from this ramp, and each of these 3 ramps are separate entities from each other, program it that way. I'm guessing the performance gain you might get from making these 3 ramps 3 different actors versus one actor containing 3 different shapes, the difference is probably small enough that unless you're really trying to wring every last little bit of CPU out of this program, you're probably a lot better off going with what makes sense to you conceptually. So for my money, I kind of think of all of these things as separate objects. So I kind of program the way I imagine this world in my mind. And I'd kind of recommend you do the same. Make the program fit the way you think and not the other way around. So question number 3 is, could this be more general purpose? If we look at our arbitrary static actor class, we've got a few values in here that are hard-coded in. We got a friction value, a restitution value. We got the density set to 0. That's what makes it static. And, granted, these are hard-coded numbers. I should probably make these constants. But maybe the bigger question is, should these be passed in like parameters? And I'm kind of torn, because on the one hand, that would certainly make this class more flexible. On the other hand, I feel like it's certainly creating more and more complexity that was hidden away from us earlier. And on the other hand, and yes, maybe I need more hands, if this density were also passed in as a parameter, and we could find a clever way of not just passing in coordinates of polygons, but coordinates of circles, could this become some larger, crazy, general purpose actor kind of thing that makes the whole body creation process a little easier? And, maybe we get something that kind of looks like this, where we have our actor, and then when we have this general purpose arbitrary actor that really just kind of abstracts out the whole body creation process for us by taking in coordinate lists. Or maybe this gets even smarter and reads in data from some kind of XML file, or maybe the parameters to the XML file are passed in by various other actors that then extend our general purpose arbitrary actor. So the ball actor defers its whole B2 body creation process to the general purpose actor and passes in some kind of XML file or a tag that then corresponds to an area in XML file. I'm not entirely sure, mostly because I haven't done this yet. but I feel like I'm kind of tantalizingly close to some sort of holy grail in actor creation here. So I don't know, maybe I'll look into this more and let you know what I find out. On a somewhat related topic, question number 4 is, how about using the factory method pattern for some of this? Could we do it? I think the answer is yes. It certainly seems like there's probably things here we should be abstracting or encapsulating away to either a factory method pattern or maybe a simple factory. I mean, if we were to take a look, I'm certainly directly calling all of these actors, and it's a fairly complicated process to create these things. And at some point later, if I were to change the way that actors were created, I would have to go back and touch an awful lot of code rather than, say, one routine in a actor factory somewhere that did the creation for me. So my hunch is yes. I haven't done it yet, and if I know anything about textbooks, they usually like to take difficult problems like this that they don't feel like explaining and saying, we're going to leave this as an exercise to the reader. I'm not actually going to say that because I want to leave this as an exercise for myself. I think it's probably worth doing, but I just haven't done it yet, and so I probably can't speak about factory patterns with any kind of authority. I'm not really a pattern expert either. I'm still just learning that too, but that's a whole other set of tutorials. Alright, that's enough talking about this arbitrary static actor. It's an awful lot of work just to make a few frickin' ramps. Let's go back to the fun stuff and make our pegs light up. Yes, finally.